In today's video, we're going to compare the methods of factoring and the quadratic formula for solving quadratic equations. We're going to consider the positives and negatives of both methods and how to decide which method to use when solving a problem. So the beauty in the factoring method is that when you can do it, it is very quick, but in that I've mentioned that when you can do it, so it's not always possible or easy. Okay, whereas the quadratic formula takes longer because you have to plug in all the terms and double check the formula in the formula book, but always gives solutions if we have them. Okay, so that's good, and by that it will also tell you if there are no solutions. So reveals no solutions. One of the problems with the quadratic formula is it's very error prone, and that's not the formula yourself, it's just that with it having all these little intricacies in it, with the minus b, the b squared in here, remembering this minus sign, multiplying by like 4 and 2, which is just a little bit, it's just something that you don't always remember. That can lead to errors, just mistakes. You know, the more things you have to do, the more chance there is of an error. But there's also a chance of error in factoring too, but I would say less so. So factoring is great when you have numbers with a small amount of factors. So say you have a quadratic involving a plus 12 on the end. Well, 12 splits into 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. So there's not that many things to try. So for that I would suggest factoring, and that'll give you a nice idea. Oh, and also this factoring method only really works for integer solutions. So if it seems like you could get integer solutions, then I'd go for this factoring method. My ultimate tip would be try factoring, have a quick scan of the problem. If you can see something that works, brilliant. If not, resort to the quadratic formula. But I wouldn't always jump straight to the quadratic formula, because you can save a lot of time in exams by using this factoring method. The question you might be asking is, where does completing the square come into the mix? Well, we will see the use of completing the square in the next video. We're going to talk about something called turning points, and that's where you might want to use that method. Completing the square for solving equations is essentially a long-winded way of using the quadratic formula. We won't get into that now. I actually have a video on that on my main channel that you can check out if you like, but you don't have to understand that. I wouldn't suggest using completing the square, because you're not going to be saving any time, you know, unless you find that method particularly satisfying or it's quicker for you because you're good at it. That's fine, but I wouldn't go through the extra effort. Either of these two methods should suffice for quadratics in exams. And again, we're talking about solving quadratics here, not all problems involving quadratics. Like I say, that's where completing the square will come in, with slightly different types of problems where we're not looking to solve, we're looking to get some other information out of the quadratic. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this little comparison. They're both fine methods. Factoring is nice because you don't have to write as much down, like I say, it's quicker. The quadratic formula is reliable, so that's nice. Factoring also is good practice at being able to visualize maths and solve it in your head. So factoring is good, if not used in the exam, in practice, to try to get a better understanding of quadratics and the solutions and what they represent. And also when you're doing practice, I would suggest once you've found the solutions, maybe try drawing the quadratics to really get an understanding of quadratics, because they come up a lot in exams in a lot of different places and ways. But for now, I'll stop rambling on. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel for more maths tutorials. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good day.